Welcome to Techstination, your destination for gadgets and gear. Here's Fred Fishkin.
A push to prepare for climate-fueled disasters. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation is urging state and federal action, and with us is the foundation's Chief Science Officer, Dr. Alonzo Plough. Thanks for taking the time with us.
Happy to be with you.
Well, what we are dealing with is being called a rare super El Nino. Tell us to begin with what that is and what it may mean.
Well, an El Nino is a weather condition that consolidates with changes in the atmospheric temperature and the water temperature starting in the Pacific, and can change weather patterns across the country. So we're at the early stages of that El Nino, and still waiting to see how that El Nino is going to make even worse and exacerbate the kind of heat dome issues that we've already been experiencing this summer. I think we all know around late June, early July, unprecedented levels of heat across the country, 10, 20 degrees higher than normal. So the El Nino effect is going to compound the existing extreme weather impact of heat across the nation. So I think that's the best way to think about it, as an amplifier of a trend we're already seeing.
So, what do we know about the extreme weather events like this and the relation to climate change?
Climate change's immediate impact. I know folks have a tendency to think about climate change in the abstraction. They think about polar ice caps or polar bears or degrees of centigrade of temperature rise is something that's kind of out there. The immediate face of climate change is extreme weather events, whether it's flooding, hurricane, and heat. And that is what we're seeing now. And I will stay with heat because that's been one of the major impacts of climate change on health this summer. These unprecedented levels of heat in cities, deaths that have occurred related to heat. I think this is the current face of climate change, and I think the information that really shows how unfortunate the current administration's position is to take away monitoring information, research. Again, as a former public health official in health departments across the country, the kind of data that helps us monitor climate change, that helps us give early warning to communities to address things like extreme weather events. So climate change there's no question in the world of science that climate change is real. And it's very important that we have the data and the information to help communities, local public health respond to the health implications of climate change, be it flooding or heat or other.
So, what are you urging then from state and federal government officials at this point?
From federal officials, we are urging to put information back on websites and back on systems that allow state and local public health officials and emergency responders to monitor the issues, the weather patterns that allow for prediction of events. The tragic floods at that camp in Texas last year, there were early warning weather data that were taken down that would have mitigated the impact of those tragic deaths of those children in the camp. So this is a real deal. I mean, I think people think about weather data or environmental data as something just for researchers, but those data and that information can save lives. And the first thing the federal government can do is put back the resources for this scientific data to protect communities across the country. Climate change is not a hoax. It is a reality. It's fine for people to have different political opinions about many, many things. That's America. We're a democracy. But this is a fact, and we need to have the federal government put factual information and support factual research about climate change and health. At the state and local level, where I operated as a health official, it's about both preparing for these extreme weather events, making sure that vulnerable populations know what to do, that parents know what to do during heat waves to keep kids inside. Heat, it's water, water, water. Drink as much as you can. That's the key. And again, staying with heat, staying inside as much as possible, and then in the workplace, particular attention to the workplace safety of individuals who do have to work outside in extreme events, making sure that their water breaks. That's the important role of local and federal government to enforce occupational health standards that protect workers on the outside. That's another area that's been diminished by the administration.
And of course, this is a global phenomenon, not just here in the United States. And we've seen the the stories of what people have gone through in Europe, where there's much less air conditioning, for instance.
Exactly. Northern Europe, if anyone's been over there, they don't real they haven't had air conditioning. They don't really need they had not needed it, but the extreme weather. I had a colleague traveling over in Europe this summer. Extreme weather, dangerous levels of heat, wildfires in Spain, wildfires here as well. When I was a public health director in California, the effect of heat and drying out forest and wildfires. That's another health implication of climate change. Yeah, I mean, even in this country, air conditioning, which has maybe seen as a luxury, it's becoming a necessity for all parts of the country. I lived in Seattle, Washington for years, never needed air conditioning. Now, Seattle, Washington is affected by temperatures that were unthinkable when I was there, 90s, low hundreds. So air conditioning is needed, but a lot of buildings don't have it. So, yeah, and then there's an equity issue too. People who can afford to have air conditioning and who cannot afford to have air conditioning. Some of these equity issues are also making the impact of climate change on health amplify health disparities that exist between populations.
Most of us rely on probably our phones as much as TV weather forecasts and radio and such. Have they been impacted, the ability to get fairly accurate information?
Yeah, I mean, again, the radio, television, draw on these databases, draw on this information. So that's been affected. Again, the administration's cuts to public broadcasting systems, particularly in rural areas, which were the major source of radio and television news information in frontier areas like in Alaska. These cutbacks to public media really are limiting getting information to people through the pathways that you mentioned, through radio, through television, through updates on their phones. So, National Weather Service has had severe cutbacks in their ability to put out weather alerts. So again, it's real. This information curtailing needed information around extreme weather events is something that makes America's a less healthy place.
Where can people go for more information?
You can go to our website, rwjf.org, and where we have information on this one. You can go to cdc.gov for general health information around the effect of extreme weather events on health. And I talk about a lot of this on my LinkedIn account. And anyone who wants to connect with me on LinkedIn and have the ongoing posting of information that I do there, I'll certainly invite you in.
Dr. Alonzo Plough, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching or listening. Don't forget to subscribe. And for more, you can find us at Techstination.com.
The Haven 10,000 lantern is a smartly designed, beautiful solar light that you will love indoors or out. It is waterproof with up to 1,200 lumens of brightness. That's a lot of light. And the base becomes a flashlight at the push of a button. The power comes from a built-in lithium-ion battery recharged by the sun. The solar panel is built in, or USB-C. The battery can even recharge your phone. Did we mention how durable it is? how it folds down and can run for up to 120 hours on a charge. But the real power of the Haven Lantern comes from the people behind it and their mission to provide this quality lighting to those in the world who need it most, including in disaster emergencies. Your purchase helps to fund those efforts, and if you use the code TEXTINATION20, you'll get it at a 20% discount. That's TEXTINATION20 at havenlantern.com. Create your haven.